Here's the truth. Our healthcare does not have to get more expensive. It just doesn't. This doesn't have to happen. Also, the government doesn't have to shut down. It doesn't have to happen. It's all theater. And who loses? Us. We lose. So tell your representatives, we want healthcare. It's simple.
If you have Obamacare and you don't want it to be 75% more expensive, then you want Democrats to win this government shutdown fight.
The government shutdown was just a couple of days ago, but yesterday, October 2nd, I got this letter talking about how my monthly premiums are going to go up for my health insurance. They obviously sent this out before the shutdown even took place in order for me to get it yesterday. So look at this. 2025 monthly payment is $218. They broke it down for me though. Thank you. Here's the math, bitch. Monthly premium of $627 minus $409 of financial help you get each month. That's the Affordable Care Act going away. So $627 is right now. Starting in January, it's going to be $727. So not only did they take away the $409, they increased this motherfucker by $100 a month. What the fuck?
They are absolutely correct, you guys. And right here is a little side-by-side comparison because, you know, MAGA, they love to look at charts and they need something, some sort of picture so that they can really understand things. So this is with the Affordable Cares Act. This is without the Affordable Cares Act. And this is what the Democratic Party was trying to stop before this whole government shutdown because the Republican Party wants to remove the Affordable Cares Act. That's what they want to do. It's not about undocumented migrants getting health care. It is not about that. It is about the lower class and middle class citizens here in the United States of America that can afford health insurance, plain and simple.
Hello guys, welcome once again to the channel. I hope wherever you're watching, you're having a great time. Now, we know that the US government shutdown is currently on its 8th day, and looking at how things are going on, it doesn't seem like there will be a solution to addressing the funding challenges that the government is facing because both sides of the political divide are pulling far from the other. And Democrats are accusing Republicans of having this stalemate to ensure that they can scrap off the gains that Affordable Care Act has given to Americans. On the other hand, Republicans are saying that Democrats are holding on these funds to ensure that they be able or they get a grant to fund woke policies. So it is a game where both sides of the government or both sides of the political divide are pushing claims and blames on the other. But then what remains is that the common American person is the one who is suffering because looking at what is going on right now, most Trump voters who are depending on the Affordable Care Act are currently crying because they are looking at how their premiums are going to be affected because of this government shutdown. And they are saying that it is going to almost double. They are crying out loud and they are saying, how on earth can our government that we voted plan to bring us down? The most expensive thing in America, if you compare it with other developed nations, is healthcare. And looking at how these insurance premiums are going to be affected by the government shutdown, many people who voted for Trump are already crying and fearing for their pocket. And it seems Trump's presidency attracts most government shutdowns because if you look at the America's modern history, you will find that it has had a total of 12 government shutdowns. But Trump has had 3, which means he has gone with a quarter of all the government shutdowns that have happened in the modern day American history. So this tells you that Trump seems to be a very controversial president that is not really attracting a bipartisan engagement where they can have these issues addressed in the best way possible. So Americans have come out crying and they are wondering what their bill for insurance premiums for healthcare will read because this government shutdown is affecting much of what they believe is supposed to help them. And specifically, MAGA Trumpers. Let's watch some of the complaints that they've made, then I shall come back in the end to give my commentaries.
We all have to get behind the Democrats calling for a shutdown. And Trump supporters, I am talking to you too. We need the Affordable Care Act subsidies to become permanent. And over 50 conservative groups are urging Trump to let them expire. And let me tell you, this is one example of the math. A couple who are 55 years old, collectively bringing in $85,000 a year, currently pay, on average, in healthcare premiums, $7,500 a year. If these Affordable Care Act subsidies expire, their premium, are you listening to me, Trump supporters? Their premium jumps to $24,000 a year. So while the billionaire class continues to become ungodly wealthy under this administration, private healthcare insurers and all of their executives are going to make a shit ton of money because they'll get to charge you another $17,000 a year. Just a couple making $85,000 a year. A lot of us don't make that much. Who can afford to have 25% of their income go to healthcare premiums? We're just going to become uninsured. No one's going to be able to afford that. Are you ready for this, Trump supporters? Instead of owning the libs, can we not all get together and agree this is really, really, really bad and it's okay to jump sides one issue at a time? Can you do that to save yourselves? Please.
Well, day 6 of the shutdown. And I'm not disappointed about it because you know what? We're still fighting for health care. And I want to point out that this is 100% Republicans' fault, okay? Don't let them spin the narrative because here's the deal. Your health care premiums are going to go through the roof. You can even check the White House website. It says it right on there. Anyways, the spins continue. On top of that, Hamas will not be considering any more of the 20-point plan unless they're guaranteed that they will have, like, that psychopath number 2 won't keep on my mom after the fact. On top of that, Illinois is now in the suit for National Guard. So, all these states are now suing the Trump administration, aka the government, aka legal fees. Again, I'm going to continue to point it out that we're paying for because he wants to be crazy, y'all. He wants to be crazy. It's ridiculous. These cities are just fine. Go to Chicago, visit. It's beautiful, especially this time of year. Peace out.
Okay, I want you to grab your most recent healthcare bill right now. You can pause this, whatever. Get your monthly statement for your health insurance. Get it now and look at it. If you are one of millions of people out there who get a monthly subsidy, it's an annual subsidy divided by every month when you pay into the Affordable Care Act insurance plans. Take a look at your bill and see if you can see the negative number, the amount of money they deduct from what you owe that is being paid by the government. That is your health care subsidy. Look at that number. It's going to be hundreds of dollars, if not low thousands. Okay, that's what is about to expire at the end of December. And that is why the Democrats are not voting along with the Republicans. The Republicans want that to expire. The Democrats don't. Your bill will stay the same, or if the Republicans have their way, it's going to skyrocket by probably at least $500 to over $1,000 a month. Them's is the facts. Look at your bill.
So I've been looking at like how much healthcare premiums are estimated to skyrocket, right? If the Republicans do not agree to extend, the ACA cuts and subsidies and They're going to double, triple, quadruple, y'all. And so many people are going to be without healthcare starting January. I'm scared. I've had healthcare all my life. I know I'm privileged in that way to have had healthcare all my life, good healthcare all my life. But I'm worried because next year may be the first year that I don't have healthcare. And I'm a single person, right? So, and I already pay like for like the top premiums of healthcare, right? Like, I don't even know how to explain because I don't even understand shit, but I pay, it's expensive. And that's going to go up. I'm a single person. I don't got to worry about me, right? And I'm worrying about how much healthcare is going to cost and whether or not I will be able to afford it. How that looks for me. Does it make sense to pay astronomically, for healthcare in America versus going outside of America to get healthcare? Or in case of an emergency, like what happens? Even my primary doctor, she's no longer accepting insurance. So I actually have to find another doctor. She's going away from insurance completely. And there are a lot of doctors that are doing that right now. So it's just like the system is broken, but it's breaking even further. And what the fuck? What are we supposed to do?
And for those that aren't from America, you guys have to understand this also. A simple hospital visit for someone, if they don't have health insurance, let's say they go to the hospital, they have to go to the emergency room and they're sick and they need urgent care right then and there. A simple visit can literally cost the American person thousands, if not tens of thousands, just going to the hospital. And I know you're thinking, well, just don't pay the bill. Well, here in America, guess what? If you have a job, they will garnish your wages. So now you're making even less money on your paycheck because you ended up having an emergency visit to the hospital. Also, here in America, if you don't have health insurance, and let's say you get taken by an ambulance and everything, let's say you need an ambulance and you call, you're like, yo, I need someone, that right there could be tens of thousands of dollars as well. Let me know your thoughts in your comments over this way, because that is what the Democratic Party is trying to stop with this whole government shutdown. Thanks, you guys.
When I say that the health insurance industry is cyclical and destructive and a perfect encapsulation of the rest of the U.S. economy, I'm not kidding. The way health insurance is supposed to be set up is you pay into it monthly, and then when you need coverage for a procedure, a visit, or some medication or anything else, they're supposed to step in and either cover it in full or in part. That's how it's supposed to be, but they don't because they're too focused on denying you so that they can cover their bottom line. Then you add in the rising costs of living on top of Trump's tariffs, which raise the cost of living exponentially, so they now have to raise their premiums to protect their bottom line. Now, as a reaction, healthy people who only use their insurance maybe once a year realize they can cover that cost out of pocket because it's cheaper than paying monthly into their insurance, so they drop their insurance. Now that insurance company is stuck with only people who actually need coverage and use it more than once a year. So now they have to raise their premiums to protect their bottom line. And because they're focused on not just profits, but record-breaking profits, they have to expectedly raise their premiums regularly to maintain that growth path in a market that shouldn't really be growing. And as a result, their customer base gets smaller and smaller and smaller because less and less people can afford it. So then they go into debt, and then a larger company merges with them. So now they have a new customer base that they can then repeat the entire cycle to. And then when that gets too big, they have two options. They can either go to the government for a bailout, which usually happens, or they can start over, lower the prices, but you get lower coverage. And then they just start the cycle over and over again. And then you get less and less coverage for the cost of more and more. It is parasitic and self-destructive.
Mike Johnson is being exposed because people in his own district are going to have their healthcare premiums raised by 300% because of this government shutdown. Keep in mind, he has one of the largest Medicaid populations in the entire United States, and he's trying to take that away from them.
One of the examples you've put out is in Speaker Mike Johnson's Louisiana district, a 60-year-old couple earning $82,000 a year. Their healthcare premiums will rise by almost $20,000, by 300% because of what their congressman is doing.
For a middle-class couple making $82,000, a $20,000 increase for their healthcare is a huge deal. We're talking groceries, mortgage payments, retirement savings gone. And that's all because their congressman, Mike Johnson, is playing political games. And the irony here is brutal. His district represents one of the largest Medicaid populations in the entire United States, so the people who voted for him voted directly against their own self-interest. And the worst part is this won't just affect people on Medicaid or Obamacare users. This will also impact people on Medicare as well as those with private insurance. They will see their prices go up too. This is an across-the-board attack on affordable healthcare. Also, the Republicans can afford their massive multi-trillion-dollar tax cuts for the richest Americans. These shutdowns aren't abstract issues. They're not just about budget fights or political talking points. They have real-world consequences. When people can no longer afford to go see a doctor when they need to, they will undoubtedly lose their lives.
Donald Trump is pushing a $20 billion bailout for healthcare for Argentinians. That's right. $20 billion of U.S. backing for a country that already has free universal healthcare for every single one of its own people. And it's not just Argentina, friend. We also send billions to Israel, which is another country where healthcare is guaranteed. No premiums, no deductibles, no insurance games like we have to face here. So what does that mean, you ask? It means we're paying for free healthcare abroad, while here in the United States, families go bankrupt over medical bills. Americans can't afford their insurance premiums. Rural hospitals are closing. People skip life-saving prescriptions because they can't afford them. And it gets worse. Trump's own allies, the MAGA extremists, are now talking about racial profiling in hospitals, friend. They want doctors and nurses to demand papers before giving emergency care. Let that sink in. If you've got the wrong skin color, the wrong accent, or even the wrong job, they want you bleeding out in an ER until you can prove that you belong. This is where we are. We are funding free healthcare in Argentina, free healthcare in Israel, and at the same time, MAGA wants to make sure Americans here at home don't get affordable care. And some people might not even get emergency treatment at all, by the way. So how is that America First exactly? It isn't about saving money. It isn't about fairness. It's about a system that will subsidize healthcare everywhere else but here, while punishing the most vulnerable people in our communities. So the question is simple. Why are Americans the only ones who are told we can't afford healthcare while our tax dollars keep paying for it everywhere else?
Some of y'all gonna be upset when I say this, but this is the reason why I am thankful that I am in the military. When I say the military is the best thing that ever happened to me, and the benefits, today is the reason why I'm still going to get a paycheck. For those of you who do not know, the government is in shutdown status, furlough, because they're trying to figure out the budget. So there's a lot of people that either got furloughed, which means they won't get paid, or civilians that work in the hospital with me, they have to come to work, but they'll get paid on the back end, but basically they kind of working for free. There are military people who just joined the military this year who have never experienced this. And I will say to those people, get with your units, get with your organizations, because there is funding. There are programs out there that can assist you. But this is the reason why I stress that people need to have savings, emergency savings. You never know what's going to happen. But for the people that was in my comments the other day, like, I don't know if I should join the military. And I know it's a lot going on politically right now. But I'm still thankful at the end of the day that I'm active duty, I got a job, and I'm getting a paycheck.
People deserve free or at least affordable health care. And that shouldn't be a divisive take, but in the United States, it is. And Democrats are fighting for millions of Americans to retain at least some semblance of affordable health care, even as Republicans wish to strip it away from Americans. And that's at the crux what this government shutdown is about. Democrats wish to keep people with benefits that otherwise would make certain that they do not have access to affordable health care. And when we say they won't have access to affordable health care, who among us can take an almost $27,000 a year hit? Because that's exactly what's going to happen to the average American utilizing Affordable Care Act subsidies. In the top 5 states, according to a new analysis done, the average cost paid is $2,750 a year with subsidies. Without the subsidies, that average cost is expected to rise to $30,000 for the average family. So you're going to go from just under $216-ish a month to almost or right at $2,500 a month. Who among us can afford that kind of change? Just to make certain that we and our families are healthy. Because that's what Democrats are fighting for, is to keep money in American citizens' pockets and out of the pockets of billionaire corporations and CEOs. They want to make certain that the middle class and low income are protected, while Republicans want to put more money in billionaires' pockets.
Now, welcome back to the channel. I think looking at how Americans are complaining, it is something that we can say the government shutdown has come out because of their own choices. They elected Trump, someone who had 2 government shutdowns before, and while everybody thought that this time around Trump was going to govern smoothly, here we are again, a standoff between the 2 major political parties in America. And I think Americans have to suffer just because they made these wrong choices. I don't remember any serious government shutdown during the Biden administration, and I don't think even Kamala Harris would be having similar challenges, because there is a way within which these Democrats have a better way of handling certain situations. I'm not like advocating for Democrats, but I'm just saying that looking at how Americans have had their economy run down by Trump's government, it is even a thorn in their flesh when this kind of a government shutdown happens, because over 800,000 federal government workers are facing challenges because of this problem that we have right now. MAGA supporters are increasingly concerned about the impact of potential government shutdown on healthcare costs, as disruptions in federal funding could destabilize critical programs. A shutdown halts non-essential government operations, including those tied to healthcare administration, which can delay payments to providers and increase operational costs. For many supporters who often prioritize fiscal responsibility, the ripple effect of the disruption feels like an unnecessary burden on an already strained system. The Affordable Care Act and Medicaid programs, often scrutinized by MAGA supporters, rely on federal funding to function smoothly. A shutdown interrupts subsidies and reimbursements, forcing hospitals and clinics to raise prices to cover losses. This hits low and middle class income families hardest, many of whom align with MAGA populist base and already feel squeezed by rising medical expenses. Veteran healthcare, a key issue for MAGA supporters, also faces risk during a shutdown. The Department of Veteran Affairs will struggle to maintain services as funding lapses, potentially delaying treatments or increasing out-of-pocket costs for veterans. This is particularly alarming for supporters who see veteran care as a non-negotiable priority and fear government mismanagement could betray those who served the same government. A shutdown also disrupts Medicare, affecting seniors who form a significant portion of the MAGA demographic. Payment delays to healthcare providers might lead to higher premiums or reduced access to care, frustrating supporters who view reliable healthcare for the elderly as essential. The uncertainty breeds distrust in government efficiency, a core grievance for many in the movement. Finally, MAGA supporters worry that a shutdown exacerbates inflation, indirectly driving up healthcare costs. With supply chain issues and labor shortage already inflating medical expenses, a paralyzed government could worsen economic instability. For a group that champions economic strength, this might fuel anxiety about affordability and access to care in an increasingly unpredictable system. So, looking at the entire thing, the American healthcare system is bound to suffer because the non-essential government operations that are supposed to be funded are not going to be funded, and therefore when hospitals or healthcare providers are forced to use their extra coin to pay for the things that the government should be paying, then they're going to have to increase the overall expenses of healthcare. And this is affecting the entire American populace. I can tell you that we know that America has the highest expenses when it comes to healthcare. And therefore, if this is left to a population that is already strained by impact of the tariffs that the Trump administration has been hitting other nations with, then it really tells you that American economic prospects is already falling and is going to fail at a very fast rate. Share your thoughts down in the comment section. And if you're watching us for the first time, please remember to subscribe to the channel, like the video, and share. Thank you, and let's meet on the next one.